Let's talk about one of the most confusing parts of learning English, idioms. You know, those quirky, colorful phrases that don't seem to make any sense at all. They can be super weird, and honestly, they're a huge source of stress for so many people trying to get fluent. So picture this. You're having a conversation, and a native speaker says something like this. And you're just left thinking, wait, what? They paid with actual limbs? It's a perfect example of just how bizarre these phrases can sound when you first hear them.
And that right there, that's the question every single person learning a new language has asked. You understand all the words individually, but the meaning just, poof, disappears. It's a really frustrating feeling, but today we're going to flip that frustration on its head.
Because here's the thing, what if I told you the way most people try to learn idioms is completely backward? What if the real secret to sounding natural isn't about memorizing endless lists from a textbook, but something much, much simpler?
Take a look at this number, just 1.2. It seems so small, right? Kind of random. But I promise you, this little number holds the entire secret to mastering idioms. Any ideas what it could possibly represent?
Well, get this. Researchers looked at students who got a band 9, that's the highest possible score you can get, on the official IELTS speaking test. And they found that these top-tier speakers used, on average, just 1.2 idioms. Not 20, not 50, barely more than 1. So this is the big reveal. Fluency is not a memory game. It's all about quality, not quantity. The secret is to deeply understand just a handful of very common idioms and then use them with total confidence in the right situation. So, which one should you actually focus on? Let's look at a few you're going to hear all the time.
Okay, so you can put the dictionary away. We're just going to focus on a few high-impact idioms that you will actually hear in the wild. And we'll start with a couple from the animal kingdom.
First up, a classic, to let the cat out of the bag. Now, this has absolutely nothing to do with pets. It just means you spilled the beans. You told a secret that you weren't supposed to, probably by accident.
I mean, the mental image is just ridiculous, right? A cat literally jumping out of a bag. But the real meaning is about something we've all done, accidentally revealing a surprise. And you know, once that secret is out, just like a real cat, it's pretty much impossible to get it back in the bag. Here's a perfect way to use it. You were trying to keep the party a secret, but oops, it just slipped out in conversation. You let the cat out of the bag. See? Simple, common, and super useful. All right, here's another super famous one. If someone says it's raining cats and dogs, it just means it's raining really, really hard. It's just a very dramatic, vivid way to describe a total downpour. Someone might say this to complain about the weather. They're not actually worried about animals falling out of the sky. They're just saying, man, it rains a ton here, and it rains hard. Okay, so let's move on from the animal kingdom and talk about idioms related to the human body. These are also incredibly common, and honestly, some of them are pretty confusing if you try to take them literally. This one has to be the all-time classic. If somebody tells you to break a leg, please don't be alarmed. They're not wishing you any harm. It's actually the complete opposite. They're wishing you the best of luck, especially before something stressful, like a big presentation, an exam, or a performance. And this just shows you the beautiful weirdness of idioms, doesn't it? The words themselves sound so negative, maybe even a little violent, but the intention behind them is 100% positive and supportive. It's a super friendly, encouraging thing to say. This is the perfect thing to say to a friend or a coworker right before a big moment. It shows you're on their side and you're rooting for them to do well. Okay, next up, bite the bullet. Now, this one has a pretty wild backstory. It supposedly comes from old battlefields, where soldiers undergoing surgery without any painkillers would literally be given a lead bullet to bite down on. Today, thankfully, it just means facing a tough, necessary situation with courage. Oh man, this is a feeling we can all relate to, right? You really don't want to do the thing, but you know you have to. You've got to force yourself. That is the exact feeling of biting the bullet. It's about doing the hard thing because you know it's necessary. So, we've looked at a few really useful idioms, but now for the most important part. How do you actually start using them without sounding awkward or, well, wrong? It's not about memorizing. It's about having the right strategy. And here it is, your simple 3-step game plan. Step 1, just listen. Seriously, for a while, don't even worry about trying to use idioms yourself. Just train your ear to catch them when you're watching movies or listening to native speakers talk. Step 2 is all about context. When you hear one, ask yourself, what's the situation here? What's the speaker's mood? That's way more important than a dry dictionary definition. And finally, step 3, use them, but start small. Don't try to cram 10 new idioms into a conversation. Just pick one you feel you understand perfectly, like bite the bullet, and just wait for that natural, perfect moment to use it.
You see, when you make this little shift in your approach, something amazing happens. You stop being someone who just memorizes vocabulary, and you start becoming a real communicator. It's about being strategic, not just studious.
So if you take away one single thing from this explainer, let it be this. Give yourself a break. You do not need to know every single idiom in the English language. In fact, trying to do that is probably going to make you sound less natural. Just focus on a few common ones, listen for how they're used, and then use them perfectly. That is the real secret.
So my challenge to you is this. As you go about your week, listening to English in whatever form you enjoy, which one of these idioms are you going to keep an ear out for first? Because that's your first step. Happy listening!